All right, guys, we are rolling on Drink Junkie. Hope you caught my last episode on Mud and my first episode on Monster Orange Dreamsicle. We are continuing in the Monster chain here. We have the Monster Pacific Punch today. So this is going to be awesome to talk about. Another one of my favorites. And if you haven't guessed why we're doing multiple Monsters, is my favorite little gas station has them 3 for $5.55. Can't beat that price. So I picked up my 3 favorites, and those are going to be the first 3 kind of soda beverages we look at. Now, before we get any further, I have to give a shout out to a guy I admire. He doesn't even know me or know I exist, but when I first went to research Orange Dreamsicle, his video was the first one that came up. So Caffeine Man, all the love. Hope you don't think I'm trying to copy you too much. I think my bandwidth here on what we're going to cover is going to be much bigger than the caffeinated beverages you're focusing on. I subscribe and like all the videos I watch of you, so keep working, dude. You're really an inspiration for me starting this. Maybe, if I'm lucky enough, he will call me and we can do some sort of collab thing. All right. Now, not going to continue to shout out YouTubers to get people think I'm getting likes or whatever, so we're going to move on. All right. So, first thing we have to look at is this. This artwork, and I mentioned the marketing and the graphic design of Monster last time. Again, you've got a great logo here. They changed the color. It's appropriate for the design on here, and they've changed their juice line and their Monster so that you know it's a different beverage. Again, I think the logo and graphic design here is excellent for Monster. Their marketing is going to be So, a bit about Sailor Jerry. You'll notice here that I've pulled up the website for probably his most famous product, which is his rum. Sailor Jerry was born Norman Collins, and early on in his life he was a vagabond. He traveled hopping on trains, and eventually Norman Collins landed in the Navy, in which he developed a love of ships. Along the way, he was practicing tattoo culture, which at the same time was also a sign of not following the traditional American dream. Refined his craft in Chicago, one of his many stops, and then finally landed in Hawaii. As Sailor Jerry landed in, he set himself up, became able to deal with and muster his craft on a lot of Americans. During World War II, when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, this made Hawaii a place of shore leave for the Navy. He centered himself on Hotel Street and was able to have this revolving clientele of Navy soldiers looking to show off the same amount of counterculture. You know, this website is really great because there's so much information about Sailor Jerry here. And, you know, with a few short pages here, you can see a lot of his art, you can see the timeline of his life, and really how this one individual became an icon. It's no wonder that Monster, with their love of motorsports and other counterculture things, picked Sailor Jerry and tattoos for this beverage here. So the last thing I want to say here is this goes back to my little glass here. When Sailor Jerry was ending his career on his way out, he named Ed Hardy as one of the few people that he left his legacy to. All of his work, all of his shops, and all of his machines. I urge you guys to check out this website. It's really informative. The rum, it's good. So You know, you can imagine that as a fan of tattoos and tattoo culture, when I walked in and saw this, I was like, sold. Let me see what that is. And I brought it home. Now, the other thing that really intrigued me about this was I don't like overly sweet things. Any of the punch style energy beverages tend to be super sweet. Even if they have the same amounts of sugar, they just tend to be too sweet for me. And by the end of it, I've got like a stomachache. Again, somebody brought up, and you know who it was, Mr. Caffeine Man, that in these cans, the nutrition label is changed and that the serving size is now 1 can. So pretty excellent point to bring up. Super happy that I saw that because I'm looking now. So this one specifically is a 1 can nutrition label because who's going to drink half a can, like you said? So in here, we've got 210 calories, 80 milligrams of soda, 3% of your daily value. I'll have to look at that. Sodium's one of those things as you start getting a little older, you pay attention to. Total carbohydrates, 53 grams. Total sugar, 52 grams. Now, if I remember correctly, the orange dreamsicle only had 28 grams of sugar. So this is significantly more. And as such, you might think it's going to be sweeter. Now, I don't think it is in terms of flavor profile. Given that punch itself has a naturally sweeter taste than other things, it's going to be a little bit sweeter in comparison. But overall, the sugar content, which is really what gets into your stomach and gives you that overly sick feeling, may be higher here. All right, moving on, no protein. Saw that Monster also came out with a new cold brew. So that's going to be my next pick, but I can't find it yet. So we're going to look into that. If anyone's got a Connect or a Monster, you're out there and you want to give me one, please. Moving on. Okay, first thing, carbonated water, sugar, glucose, orange juice concentrate, that's interesting, apple juice concentrate, taurine, citric acid, cherry juice concentrate, guava puree, sodium citrate, raspberry juice concentrate, Panax ginseng flavor, potassium sorbate, which is the preservative, caffeine itself, maltodextrin, that's another sugar, niacinamide, again, that is a vitamin, that's your B3. We talked about that last time, that's part of the energy blend. Sucralose, pineapple juice, passion fruit juice, gum arabic, I bet you that's part of the flavor, or part of the color there, red 48. Now that's interesting, because typically you see red 5, and that's in things like your Swedish fish that are super red. I wonder if they've changed because red 5 has gotten a bad rap for things like ADHD and other issues there. Salt, ester gum, inositol, L-carotene, L-tartrate, pyroxide, hydrochloride, that's your B6, riboflavin, that's your B2, and then they've got B12, which is your blue cyancobaline. So, with that being said, let's crack it open and take a look at it. All right, so you can see here, we've got a pretty deep red color. That holds consistent with the punch. And it's a pretty well-balanced flavor. It tastes like carbonated punch that you might have at a party. In my game, this is pretty excellent. I like to mix this one in. Again, it's very sweet comparatively to some of them. But what I forgot to mention earlier was one of the reasons I picked this up the first time was because it described itself as a more mellow version of their pipeline punch, which holds true with my other experiences like the Rockstar Punched and things like that they're overly sweet. I think they've toned down the sweetness there. There might be a little less sucralose in here, and things like that. I think the sugar itself that's dissolved in here is probably giving it some of that body that we're looking at here. Questions, comments, leave them for me. Love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this. Really looking to start conversations. If you got links to other review videos, let's see what other people are thinking out there. I've watched a few, but not on this one specifically. Again, like, subscribe, really trying to get this out there. If you've got a beverage you want me to review, then let me know. I'm going to be checking comments and coming back to you. Next week, we'll be dropping something that's not going to be an energy drink. It's also not going to be a supplement. So stay with me, and we'll see you next time on Drink Junkie.